A large crowd is expected to attend a meeting tonight at the Badgett Playhouse in Grand Rivers to discuss plans by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to restrict water access to areas around Barkley Dam and other dams on the Cumberland River and its tributaries. Residents and business owners in the area are not fond of the plan to install signs, buoys, and physical barriers around Barkley Dam and the prohibition of boating, swimming, and wading. Lyon County Judge Executive Wade White said he expects the theater to have a capacity crowd. The meeting is tonight from 6 until 8 p.m. at Badgett Playhouse in Grand Rivers. The U.S. Army's Corps of Engineers held their first public meeting Thursday night to gather comments about plans to restrict access to water near dams along the Cumberland River and its tributaries, including Barkley Dam near Grand Rivers. The Badgett Playhouse was packed with more than 200 concerned fishermen and residents. Lyon County Judge Executive Wade White said it was what he expected.
A lot of people showed up, were very passionate because this is going to impact not only their enjoyment of being able to go below the dam, but a lot of people are going to lose money over this.
White said local commercial fishermen use the waters on either side of the dam, and there are also individuals who catch shad to sell to those fishermen. He cited analysis from the Kentucky Fish and Wildlife Department in 2000 that showed fishing below Barkley Dam generated $3 million in tourism money. White estimated that figure is now close to $4 million. He says that lost income, plus the Corps' expense of blocking access to the dams, is a substantial amount of money.
They're taking $2 million out of an already tight budget of the Corps of Engineers, which will cause them to either close campgrounds or shut them down early. And with that $2 million they're spending, they're going to cost us around $4 million every year of tourism dollars that was coming in. And we can't afford that kind of hit.
The regulation that the Corps of Engineers is working from dates back to 1996, and a recent reevaluation convinced leadership that the signs and other markers already in place are not enough. White says they are redefining their own regulation to an extreme by proposing a permanent barrier. Congressman Ed Whitfield was at the meeting Thursday and was met with a standing ovation when he said he would go back to Washington, D.C. and do whatever he could to stop the restrictions. White says if he and Livingston County Judge Executive Chris Lasher need to go to the nation's capital to talk to the right people, he's ready to go.
The county judge executives from Livingston and Lyon counties will be in the nation's capital Tuesday to discuss the planned boating restrictions near dams on the Cumberland River, including Barkley Dam. Bill Hughes reports.
Lyon County's Wade White said that he and Chris Lasher have a meeting on February 5th with General Thomas Bostic, Chief of Engineers for the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. U.S. Representative Ed Whitfield set up the meeting and will try to get other elected officials from Kentucky and Tennessee to attend. The Corps detailed their plans at a meeting on January 10th at Badgett Playhouse in Grand Rivers and was met with vocal opposition from over 200 concerned citizens. White, Lasher, and Whitfield are hoping to convince the Corps to include them and the public in determining what changes are needed, if any, rather than proceeding with their announced plan over the next few months.
Elected officials from 2 states attended a meeting with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers on Tuesday in Washington, D.C. to discuss the Corps' plans to restrict boat access near Barkley Dam and other dams on the Cumberland River and its tributaries. Bill Hughes reports.
Kentucky U.S. Representative Ed Whitfield called the meeting, which was also attended by County Judges Chris Lasher and Wade White of Livingston and Lyon counties, along with Tennessee Representative Jim Cooper and U.S. Senator Lamar Alexander. They met with Major General Michael J. Walsh of the Corps of Engineers, hoping to convince him to allow them to be involved in a common-sense plan at the dams rather than the permanent restrictions the Corps announced in January. Lasher said they presented recommendations from fish and wildlife officials for conditional restrictions, which would happen when the dams are releasing water.
It includes things such as warning sirens, extra signage, the potential to put signs up on the bank that show you shouldn't go past this area when spilling is occurring, and enforce the use of life jackets when fishing. But they actually have an impeccable safety record, and we just want to work with them to improve that even further.
Both judges also stressed the negative economic impact that the dam restrictions would bring to their counties. Whitfield and Alexander promised that if the Corps ignores their pleas and moves ahead with its plan, they would begin working in the House and Senate to pass legislation to stop the restrictions, but that option could take a while.
Republican U.S. Senator Lamar Alexander visited Old Hickory Dam in Nashville Thursday and discussed concerns about a plan which would limit fishing near the dam. Bill Hughes reports.
Alexander was joined by members of the community, including anglers who are outraged over the plan, and representatives of the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency and the Tennessee Wildlife Federation. The plan could stop fishing in tailwaters below dams along the river, even when water isn't spilling through the dams. The Corps says boating too close to the spillways is a safety risk, and barriers will be going up this year. The restriction would also affect Barkley Dam in western Kentucky. Senator Alexander announced earlier this month that he's exploring federal legislation to halt fishing limitations on the Cumberland. Representative Ed Whitfield of Western Kentucky has vowed to do the same in the U.S. House of Representatives. Whitfield's measure, known as the Freedom to Fish Act, enables boating access to river tailwaters to continue for sportsmen and recreational fishermen. In a statement, Whitfield said he's fed up with the Corps' lack of public consideration in the process to prohibit access to tailwaters near dams on the Cumberland River, including Barkley Dam. He said that in numerous meetings, the Corps has placated the public rather than attempting to work to reach a compromise. Whitfield said he has no other choice than to seek a legislative solution to the Corps' overreach.
Kentucky Governor Steve Beshear shared his opinion on several current issues while talking with reporters Thursday in Paducah. Bill Hughes was there.
Beshear fielded questions between the announcement and groundbreaking ceremony for Teletech, a company bringing 2 customer service centers to Paducah. Regarding Barkley Dam and plans by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to restrict recreational access, Beshear said he's working with Congressman Ed Whitfield and lots of other people to try to get the Corps to reverse their decision.
I am positive that there are ways to improve the safety situation to some degree, but at the same time, not interfere with commercial fishing and with the sport fishing that goes on.
Several elected officials will be speaking at a Freedom to Fish rally near Barkley Dam on April 13th. Lyon County Judge Executive Wade White says McConnell's office confirmed that he will attend the Freedom to Fish rally on April 13th at Barkley Dam Pavilion. The Senate Minority Leader joins fellow Kentucky Senator Rand Paul, Congressman Ed Whitfield, Tennessee Senator Lamar Alexander, Livingston County Judge Executive Chris Lasher, and Judge White from Lyon County. The rally is to show support for the Freedom to Fish Act, legislation filed in both chambers of Congress that would require the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to get input from elected officials and the public before constructing permanent barriers at dams on the Cumberland River. A wave of supporters attended a Freedom to Fish rally held at Barkley Dam in Lyon County Saturday. Livingston County Judge Executive Chris Lasher opened the demonstration. He read a letter from Kentucky Governor Steve Beshear, who said he supports Kentuckians' right to fish and encourages the Corps to reevaluate their plan. Lasher said a hand has been extended to the Corps multiple times to make a compromise, but each time he feels like he took a slap to the face. Lyon County Judge Executive Wade White said he feels local government and agencies have been left out. His conclusion is that the battle isn't over fishing, it's over freedom. Senators Rand Paul, Mitch McConnell, Lamar Alexander, and Congressman Ed Whitfield also spoke at the event. They outlined everything they're doing with the Freedom to Fish Act and reassured supporters they're doing all they can to stop the Corps' plans. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers Nashville District announced Tuesday it is beginning to implement permanent full-time restrictions around 10 dams on the Cumberland River and its tributaries this week. The Corps said it will not be installing physical barriers yet. Senators Mitch McConnell and Rand Paul of Kentucky, along with Senator Lamar Alexander of Tennessee, released statements Tuesday in response to the announcement. Senator Paul said what's at stake is the state's freedom to regulate its own waters, and these restrictions come with no justification and do not reflect policies carried out by other Corps districts. Local officials predict millions of tourism dollars will be lost at each location where restrictions are imposed. I'm Bill Hughes.
Elected officials are reacting to President Obama's signature on the Freedom to Fish Act. Bill Hughes has more.
Senator Mitch McConnell said the Freedom to Fish Act is a 2-year moratorium that prevents the Corps of Engineers' quote, idiotic decision to prohibit fishing near dams on the Cumberland River, and he expects a permanent ban to pass the House sometime soon. It has already passed the Senate. Senator Paul said the unanimous passage by Congress and the president's signature should send a message.
Hopefully the arrogance of the bureaucrats will be checked, they'll be chastened, and they'll say, you know what, maybe we ought to ask the local people what they want before we come in here with the big hand of the federal government and tell them what they have to do.
I'm Bill Hughes.
Congressman Ed Whitfield visited Lyon County on Tuesday afternoon to celebrate a new law that stops planned restrictions to the tailwaters at Barkley Dam. Bill Hughes reports.
Whitfield, along with Lyon and Livingston County Judge Executives Wade White and Chris Lasher, held a ceremonial signing of the permanent Freedom to Fish Act. Whitfield said how proud he was of White and Lasher. Without them, he said, the citizens wouldn't have the legislation. He said the act is an example of the people's power in government when they come together, make a strong argument, and get the government to do something for the people. The first bill was a moratorium to stop the Corps' plan for 2 years. The recently passed Freedom to Fish Act permanently gives boaters access to areas above and below Corps of Engineers dams. Whitfield also thanked Tennessee Senator Lamar Alexander and Kentucky Senators Rand Paul and Mitch McConnell. Following the ceremony, Whitfield, White, and Lasher took a boat out into the waters that could have been restricted and fished for a while. Whitfield returned to the ramp with a big striped bass, underscoring how important the waters are to local fishermen. I'm Bill Hughes.